Hello guys, it's Siva. I wanted to talk about the hands-on press event that I got to go to at Blizzard campus on May 28th for Heroes of the Storm. We got to hear about a bunch of upcoming heroes and skins and mounts and maps and events and all that stuff. We got to play games with Blizzard employees and other fan sites. We also went to a Q&A for fan sites with Samwise DA and KO Milker, and we had a one-on-one interview with Alan Dabiri. And I went, of course, on behalf of Heroes Nexus and Curse, and I thought I would share some of the information we got and some of the new announcements we heard about, and I hope you enjoy. I was under an NDA, but it is now lifted, so I can share that information with you. So before I go over all the cool new info, I'm going to show you some quick pictures that I took around the campus while I was there. But first, I want to show you all the awesome loot that they gave us. Every time you go visit Blizzard for any sort of special event, they give you a gift bag at the end, and sometimes they're really, really awesome, and so I thought I'd share what I gave this time. First off, they gave us 3 heroes. We got Kerrigan and Uther and Diablo, and each of them comes with a skin. We got the Lumberjack skin, the Succubus skin, and the Godzilla skin for Diablo, which is very cool. They also gave us a mouse pad. Pretty sweet. I like these oversized mouse pads a lot. And they gave us this, the Heroes of the Storm Steel Series mouse, which on the Blizzard store is a $70 mouse, so that's pretty cool. I already have a mouse that I like and I use a lot, so I will keep that as a backup, but I mean, that's a pretty cool gift. So anyway, I thought I would talk about some of the information that we heard, because that's probably what most people care about more than my swag. There's going to be a several month-long event in Heroes of the Storm called the Eternal Conflict. Now that the game has been established and it has its own identities and its own cross-IP world, the Nexus, the developers want to focus more on the IPs that contributed to the game. And first up is going to be Diablo, so there's going to be a several month-long event where we're going to see new Diablo maps, new Diablo skins, mounts, you name it. It's all going to be there. It's called the Eternal Conflict. It's going to be starting at the end of June, and it's going to last for, quite some time, maybe the rest of the year. And then after that, they'll go on and focus on Warcraft or Starcraft or Overwatch soon. The new hero that we're going to be seeing is the Butcher. He is a melee assassin. If you want to hear more about him, I'm going to put a link in the description to the specialized video that's just dedicated to all about the Butcher. And the new map that we're getting is the Battlefield of Eternity, which is the Heaven versus Hell map that we saw the concept art for at BlizzCon 2014. Very cool map, very fun to play, and there will also be a link to that in the description. And both of those will be going on the Heroes of the Storm PTR, which is a new thing they're going to be adding now that the game is live. It will be on the PTR on June 23rd, and they hope to have it live by June 30th. So aside from that, we also got some information from the developers. If you want to read it more in depth, I really recommend heading over to Heroes Nexus. A lot more information will be covered there in way more depth. But I'm just going to give you the basics of everything. So the game has been in development for 7 years. It started off as Blizzard All-Stars, which was just basically a mod for StarCraft 2, just a map. They feel like the game has really been developed concurrently with players because they've made so many changes based on feedback, and also they opened the technical alpha really, really early. Their cycle for releasing heroes going forward is going to be 3 to 4 weeks. There was kind of a big gap between Sylvanas and Joanna, but they want to release them faster going forward. Now, heroes take about 8 months to develop, they said, and but they're working really hard on it, and they're drastically increasing the heroes team even after launch. They were talking about, how the heroes are developed. Sometimes it's a matter of the devs going to the artists and saying, hey, we need a really cool assassin. Can you look through the art assets, see if you have any ideas? And sometimes it's, they have a specific iconic hero that they want or a role that they want, and they'll, go to the artists and they'll work together back and forth to develop that hero. One thing that we asked about that a lot of people seem to ask for is a death recap. They're going to add one. There was one, if you remember, very, very briefly in the technical alpha and very early phases. They want to bring it back, but they want to figure out how to make it more useful. Unfortunately, there are higher priority things on the table right now, but it is something that we will see. One of the things that they also mentioned is that they are planning to potentially take maps out of the rotation as more maps are added to the game. Right now they cycle through the maps, so you won't get the same map a few times in a row, but obviously as the amount of maps grows and grows and grows, that's going to be a lot more cumbersome. You know, if you have to cycle through 25 maps before you get the one that you really like. So they're thinking that they might, you know, pull them in and out on a limited time basis, so that way you can really experience the maps, especially if there's new maps. You know, you'll be more likely to get them if the pool is only, you know, 10 maps, say hypothetically. The other thing is, I asked on that same note about blacklisting maps, because all of us have a particular map I'm sure that we don't really like, and it is something they are considering, but it will definitely not be implemented until they have more maps. They do not feel that the current amount, which is 7 or 8 maps, is enough to justify that. We asked about MMR. A lot of people don't like that it's not visible. The reason that it is not visible is because the number is sort of arbitrary based on the region of players, your region and the pool of players that you play against. So the number doesn't necessarily mean anything, because they'll be very, very different depending on the pool that you play with. They do definitely want to implement something that is a visual representation of your skill in the game. That's something that players care about a lot, as a mark of pride, but also an incentive to do better and things like that. They haven't decided yet if they want to do something like a rank number, or if they want to do something like, you know, gold, silver, bronze. But in the meantime, MMR is not going to be visible. Another thing that we asked about, which a lot of players have been complaining about, is the change to buffs and debuffs that happened in the latest iteration of the UI. The new changes sort of made it so it's much harder to track those things. They're not as visible, and Blizzard is aware of the problems. They realized that that was an unintended consequence of the UI update, and they're definitely going to be changing things to make that better. One of the things that they talked about that they would like to implement is a unique to that hero UI that sits above your portrait that helps you track relevant buffs and debuffs, and also things like the healing well, so you no longer have to go all the way back and look at the healing well to know when you can use it again. They want to plan to eventually support a way to be able to gift heroes and skins to friends, which I think is really cool. They're concerned with fraud, and so they're trying to find a good way to implement that without that risk. On the same token, I asked about if they're going to do anything to incentivize buying bundles if you own some of the contents already in it, like, for example, provide keys that you can give to friends, or better yet, a discount or credit or something like that to your account. And those are both definitely things that they're working on and talking about options on, and they do want to implement, but they're still figuring it out, so there's no ETA on when we'll get that. We asked about the gold acquisition rate. They're pretty happy with how it is now. It's, you know, their usual response, oh, give us feedback if you have anything on that. But they sounded pretty happy. Personally, I'm pretty happy. I've been able to afford most of the things that I wanted to buy with gold, but I'm also not a collector, and I play a few limited amount of heroes a lot rather than, you know, trying everything. I'm happy to try those on the free-to-play weeks. So for collectors, I know you're not entirely happy with it, but I think for the average person who focuses on a limited amount of heroes, I think it's pretty good. So I actually kind of agree with them on that one. A big concern for the community, for anyone who plays online games, and especially in this genre of games, is playing with toxic people and the toxic community. And so we asked them how they plan to deal with that, what sort of implements they want to have in place. And they said that they are considering adding a reputation system where you can rate other players, and you can do it either positively or negatively, so it won't just be negatively. And they have considered the possibility of using a system similar to the lever system, where negatively rated players end up being grouped together. So if you want to be an asshole, that's great, but you get to be an asshole with other assholes, and they're going to be an asshole to you. So I think that's kind of cool. I kind of hope that they do that, but we'll see. But definitely, they did say that even though the game is very recently gone live, they do have a full CS team, and so when you report players, it is reviewed by actual people, and that they do have punishments ranging from muting to being completely removed from the game. So in the meantime, until we get something like that, you should definitely report players that you feel are, disruptive to your positive gaming experience, and hopefully they will deal with them, because those players suck. I hope you enjoyed all this new information, and as a reminder, if you want to hear more about the Battlefields of Eternity new Diablo map, or if you want to hear more about the Butcher, the new assassin hero, please check the description box below to get the links to the videos that are dedicated just to those things. Thanks.